Nestled among rolling hills and whispering willows lay the village of Willow Creek. Life here was simple, untouched by the rush of the modern world. The days were long and filled with sunshine, the nights were cool and serene. Thomas, a carpenter, lived in a small cottage at the edge of the village with his young son Samuel. Thomas was a man of few words, but his heart overflowed with love for his son. Samuel, with his bright eyes and infectious laughter, was the center of Thomas's world. Their days were spent in a comfortable routine. Thomas would leave for his workshop early each morning, the scent of sawdust clinging to his clothes. Samuel would often tag along, his small hand tucked securely in his father's calloused one. In the evenings they would return home, their hearts content with the day's work. The small cottage, filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread, was their haven. It was a place where love resided, and where laughter echoed off the wooden beams. After supper, as the fire crackled in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the walls, Thomas would take his place in his rocking chair. Samuel, nestled beside him, his head on his father's arm, would eagerly await the night's story. Thomas would weave tales of brave knights and wise old owls, of mischievous fairies and cunning foxes. His voice, deep and resonant, brought the stories to life, filling Samuel's imagination with wonder. Samuel would listen, his eyes wide with awe and excitement. Sometimes Thomas would talk about his own father, a carpenter just like him. He would tell Samuel about the values his father had instilled in him: honesty, hard work, and kindness. Samuel would listen intently, etching each word onto his young heart. In the flickering firelight, a bond grew between father and son, stronger than any force. These were the moments that Samuel would cherish, moments woven into the very fabric of his being. One night, a fierce storm raged outside. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling the windows and shaking the very foundation of their little cottage. Rain lashed against the roof, a relentless, deafening roar. Samuel, awakened by the storm's fury, clung to his father in fear. Thomas held him close, his own heart pounding in his chest. Thunder boomed, shaking the ground beneath them, and a flash of lightning illuminated the room in an eerie white light. "Don't be afraid, Samuel," Thomas said, his voice a calm amidst the storm's chaos. "Storms are a part of life. They come and go, just like everything else." He held Samuel a little tighter, whispering soothing words until the boy's trembling subsided. As quickly as it began, the storm began to subside. The wind died down to a low whistle, the rain softened to a gentle patter. Samuel, exhausted from the night's fear, drifted back to sleep in the safety of his father's arms. Section 4. Lessons from the Workshop. As the years passed, Samuel grew taller and stronger. He spent countless hours in his father's workshop, the scent of sawdust and wood polish as familiar to him as the air he breathed. Thomas, his patience endless, taught Samuel the art of carpentry. Each piece of wood, Thomas explained, held within it a story waiting to be told. He taught Samuel to respect the wood, to feel its grain, to listen to its whispers. Under his father's watchful eye, Samuel learned to carve and shape, to plane and sand. But Thomas taught Samuel more than just carpentry. He taught him the importance of honesty in every board he cut, the value of hard work in every nail he hammered, and the power of love in every piece of furniture he crafted. Samuel absorbed these lessons, his heart swelling with gratitude for his father's wisdom. Section 5. A Promise to Remember. Time, like the flow of the river, continued its relentless journey. Thomas, his hair now streaked with silver, began to slow down. His once strong hands trembled slightly, his steps were a little slower. Then, one day, Thomas fell ill. Samuel, now a young man himself, cared for his father with a tenderness that mirrored the love Thomas had shown him all those years ago. He sat by his bedside reading stories and sharing memories, his heart heavy with a sorrow he couldn't quite comprehend. One evening, as the sun cast long shadows across the floor, Thomas called Samuel to his side. "My son," he whispered, his voice weak but filled with love, "remember the stories, remember the lessons, and always, always let love be your guide." And with those words, Thomas closed his eyes for the final time. Samuel, his heart shattered, made a promise that day. He would honor his father's memory, not just in the wood he carved, but in the life he lived. He would share the stories, pass on the lessons, and always, always let love be his guide. And so, the legacy of love and strength continued. passed down from father to son, a timeless bond that even death could not sever.